And good morning. Welcome to our very last Twitch live stream that we have together for my intro psych classes. Sorry, there were like a minute and a half of ads here, so it just kept going. So sorry to be a moment late. But I hope everyone is doing well. It's December. We're in the last couple of days of our class. And we're definitely getting close to the holidays and the end of the semester. So thank you so much for those of you making time to be here with me today. What I want to do is go over kind of the last pieces of things that we have going on this week in week number 8. And then I will remind you quite a few times, and I'm going to put this in the chat right now. Please remember that our class officially ends on Friday night, which is December 6th at 11:59 p.m. Okay, so I know that's a little bit different than it is normally, but our class ends Friday night. So just make sure that everything is submitted and completed by the end of Friday. Let's go ahead and jump over to Canvas together. And if you scroll down, we're here, right? We're in that very last week. We have just a couple of days left of the class. Week 7 has been open for you for a while because we did kind of have a few extra days in there due to Thanksgiving. But let's take a look at what we have going on this week and kind of wrap things up. As usual, we have kind of a similar format of 2 chapters and 2 discussions. We also have an exam, a closing assignment, a little survey that I'll talk about, and then the extra credit opportunity as always. So let's go through each one of those together. And if you have any questions, now is a wonderful time to ask me. I'm more than happy to answer them for you. So this week we're looking at chapter 15 and 16, building on what we talked about in week number 7. So we talked about disorders. This week we look at the different therapies for how to treat those disorders. And then also social psychology, which is as broad as psychology goes. So make sure, as always, you do 3 things for those chapters. Read the chapter in the ebook, read through the lecture, and watch the lecture video. Click on all of the links and explore any videos and things that I include that's going to help you to understand them. You also have your last 2 discussions of the semester. So discussion 15 and 16. Let's take a look at those together. So discussion 15, as always, you have my instructions and then a little video up here. You're going to reflect on the chapter related to therapy and answer 3 questions. So number 1, what are some stereotypes that you have of therapy, either personally or maybe things you've heard or seen or been in movies or shows? Number 2, how would you describe the stereotypical therapist? In other words, what might be some things that they would say or do? What is their age or gender or appearance? Things that are in the room. The first 2 here are kind of getting at the stereotypes that you might have related to therapy. And then the last one is obviously worth the most points here. And so using the textbook, the lecture, and then also this website right here or anything else that you're aware of, if you were to ever consider going to therapy, which 2 therapeutic approaches or perspectives would be your top choices and why? I want you to describe at least 1 technique and 1 goal of each of the 2 chosen types of therapy and make sure that you're referencing the specifics of that approach. So show me that you understand how that approach would tackle mental illness. What are kind of the main approaches and techniques and goals of that approach? It can be something that you've done already or something that you would consider doing, and that is really worth the most points. So that can be from the book or the lecture or something you've heard of. It could also be from this website that's right here that might also be helpful. When you're ready, you'll hit reply, and then don't forget to also reply to a classmate to get those 2 kind of easy points. Then you have discussion number 16, which is related to social psychology. And as always, you have my instructions at the top, followed by a video. With this one, you're going to be thinking about some stuff related to social psych. So number 1, you're going to perform 3 random acts of kindness or altruism. Ideally, these should be things that are kind of random or unplanned. They can be really small, they can be bigger, it's kind of up to you. They can be all over the place. But I want you to describe the 3 acts that you performed. What did you do? What was the reaction of the recipient or recipients, if any? And share your thoughts and reactions in general. If you don't feel comfortable doing these with strangers, it could be something that you do in your home or with friends or family, or it could be something that you do randomly out and about in the world. Number 2, you're going to describe a time where you were the victim of prejudice or discrimination. This could be based on your age, race, ethnicity, orientation, gender, religious ability, or literally anything. Briefly share what happened and your reaction. If you have never been the victim of prejudice or discrimination, you can write about an example of somebody else in your life. So you could ask a friend or a family member, or just somebody that you know to describe, and you could post theirs. Or you could describe one from a film, if you really don't have anything. Most of us sadly have been a victim of those things at some point. So you can describe yours or that of somebody near to you. And then finally, what are some of the strategies that people can employ to help reduce prejudice and discrimination? And this is something you can find in the book and also in the lecture. So you'll reply to my post, and then don't forget to also reply to a classmate to get those 2 points. And again, I'll mention this a few times, but don't forget that everything's due by Friday night. So really just kind of keep that date in the back of your mind. We do have one last exam this week that you'll be taking. Exam number 4 is just a 4th test. It's the final, but it is just on this last unit, everything last week and this week. You have a study guide right here, as always, that will tell you all of the terms you need to know. So make sure you know everything from 13, 14, 15, and 16 that is on the study guide. Just like the other exams, you have 75 minutes to take it. You get 1 attempt, so make sure you're ready and organized to go before you start. Make sure you have 75 minutes and a quiet place to take it and good internet and that you've studied and prepared and all of the stuff that hopefully you've been doing all semester long. So be sure to complete the exam by the end of Friday. That is when it will close and when it is due. You also have a closing assignment, and this is what I want to spend a little bit of time kind of talking about because it is a different element than you've done. But the closing assignment, what you'll see here is here are the instructions, here's a concept list, and then here's a sample. And so my goal with this closing assignment is to give you a cumulative element without having to give you a cumulative exam. I've always thought cumulative tests are the worst, so I don't believe in giving them. But what you will do for this is kind of think back over the course of our class and come up with 5 different terms or concepts that you can apply to your life in some way. And I hope you have more than 5, but you'll be thinking about 5 of them. Let's take a look at the sample first, and then we'll go look at the instructions. But what I want you to notice about the sample is this isn't a traditional paper. So you're following a very specific format, which kind of keeps it short. You don't have to worry about transitions and stuff like that. So you're going to come up with 5 terms or concepts. You'll list the term. You'll give me a definition, which can be straight out of the textbook. It can be copied. That's totally fine. And then your focus on this really is to give me about a paragraph describing how you could apply that term or concept to your life. And that's really where the bulk of your points are coming from. So you'll do that again for 5 separate terms, just kind of numbering them and following this format, with the main focus of the paper really being on how could you apply that concept or term to your life. Now you can use any concept or term that we've covered all semester. I did put together a list just to try and help you. It doesn't have to be on here. These are just all the major terms and concepts we've covered throughout our class. But if you were feeling a little overwhelmed by trying to narrow it down, I thought this might be helpful. And then where you'll turn this in is right here where it says instructions. So let's go ahead and click on that and look at the specific instructions together. When you're ready, you'll click on this little Start Assignment button up here at the top, and that's where you can upload your file. It is worth 25 points and it's due by the end of Friday. So make sure you spend some time on this. It's worth more than a discussion. And the content, again, is that you are choosing 5 specific ways or concepts from this class that could apply to your life. So for each of the 5 examples, you'll give me the term, the definition, and the application. And as I mentioned a moment ago, the application is really the part that I'm grading the most. The definition could be copied straight from the textbook, and the term, these 2 are kind of guiding that last piece. You're going to number your examples 1 through 5. Please try and follow that format that I just showed you on the sample on the page before. It makes it really clear and easy for me to see what you're doing. It should be roughly 1 to 2 pages in total. I'm not super worried about the formatting, so just standard fonts, standard margins, and formatting. And then I gave you a rubric. In general, if you do all those things, you'll get 25 points. If you're a little short or you don't quite elaborate enough, 20, and then so on. You can see that here. But this is kind of your chance to think back over everything that we've covered, and, reflect on it and apply it to your life in some way. So for this week, you have your two discussions, the exam, and then that closing assignment. There is also a little anonymous closing class survey. You don't have to do this, but if you'd love to give me some feedback about things you liked or didn't like, if there's anything you would change or keep the same, I would love to hear it. I'm always trying to make this class better. I'm a little scientist in that way, always evaluating. And this is completely anonymous, so whatever you say, it won't be attached to your name, but it will let me know, things that you liked or didn't like about the course. I will, of course, give you the extra credit question here in just a moment, and I'll post this recording in a few minutes when we're done, and it's uploaded and downloaded. So a couple of quick reminders. I did type this out one last time. If you could please make sure that you are still subscribed. I saw one person did that a few minutes ago. Thank you. It makes my life so much simpler, and I really greatly appreciate it, along with all the benefits there are to you. So if you see that you're no longer subscribed, please take a moment. And if you're watching this later as a recording, you can still do the extra credit if you are subscribed. The other reminder, I know I said this earlier, but I'm going to put it in here one more time. Please remember that our class officially ends on Friday night, which is December 6th at 11:59 p.m. And I know that's a little different than normal. I will feel horrible for you if you email me Saturday or Sunday and say that you missed it, but it is in the syllabus. I've sent out multiple reminders and I'm reminding you here. So please just be really aware that the class does end on Friday night, and that's going to be when everything is due. The last thing that I have for you, let me copy and paste my extra credit question for this week, and then I'll see if there are any questions. This is the week number 8, Twitch extra credit. The last one. I get sentimental. The last one. So our extra credit for this week. If someone had a phobia of heights, what are 2 different treatment methods that we could use? What are 2 different methods that we could be using for treatment? And when you're ready to answer that, I did put the question here in the comments, or in the chat box rather. You can click on optional Twitch extra credit number 8 on Canvas, and then click on start assignment up in the top right hand corner. And it brings up that box where you can type your response. And once you're ready, hit submit for that last confetti burst along with hot air balloons. Right? Why not? So those are the big things to do for this week. Obviously, if you didn't do week 7, it's still open. So go back and do everything from week number 7 that we talked about previously. But for this week, discussion 15 and 16, the final exam or exam number 4, the closing assignment, and then if you're interested, I did have that closing survey that's anonymous along with the extra credit. So those are kind of the last reminders that I have for you. A short and sweet 8-week class. I hope that all of you have enjoyed it. I would love your feedback if you're willing to give it in that survey. I hope you all have a wonderful December. I want to wish you the best of luck on our final and then all of your final exams that you have coming up as we go through these last couple of weeks. Last week really or so of the semester. So I will hang out for a few minutes. If you do have any questions for me, I'm more than happy to answer them, especially if you're confused at all about any of the stuff that we have left. Otherwise, you are more than welcome to go. Thank you again so much for those of you who join me every week and those of you who are watching this later as a recording. I appreciate both of you or all of you. I hope you have a wonderful week. Hang in there, as I know this is kind of a stressful time of year. And I will hang out for a few minutes. I'm going to minimize my video, but I will hang out for a few minutes. If you have any questions for me, I'm more than happy to answer them for you. Yeah, thank you as well. Thank you for being here with me. I know I can't see all of you, but I really do appreciate all of your attendance and being here and keeping me company. Thank you as well. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. Thank you. And again, good luck on all of your finals. Good luck on everything that you have going on. I know this is a crazy time of year, so take care of yourselves. Don't forget self-care, and have a wonderful, wonderful week. You as well. Thank you so much. still here, as I mentioned. If any of you do have any questions at all, I'm here and happy to answer them.